Ladies and gentlemen, with the ongoing food shortages, supply chain issues, and insane amount of inflation, it's clear that the American government is got one goal in mind, and it's to starve out its citizens. The North America, it's Canada. It seems like it's all around the world, but it seems like it's Canada, U.S., and we're just fucking our own citizens. Welcome to the weekend show, ladies and gentlemen. There's a whole fucking slew of shortages as far as with the supply chain issue, or whether it's just empty shelves because they burnt the factory in your local town or the food processing factory. They set fire to crops. They were paying farmers to destroy their crops, to not grow any crops. And it's wild, and the conspiracy theories are having a field day right now. There's a baby formula shortage. Let's throw that out there. That's a thing. I didn't know that they just ran out of the powder for baby formula. So babies are starving right now, man. On a completely unrelated note, me and the boys are going around to local stores and buying up all the baby formula. We cracked the baby formula market, you know what I'm saying? And started flipping this shit, man. Started flipping old, synthetic breast milk, you know what I'm saying? I got word, because I got word that this baby formula has an incredible shelf life, right? It's profitable. It has a life up to 18 months. You could let it sit in storage, which, for people that bulk buy, it's great to have things that don't expire quick, right? So we got like stacks of these. We got big pallets of baby formula, and we're just flipping it around town to local mothers all around town, right? I got word that Baby Milk and Berry, had a little scheme going on, man. This guy, it's fucking genius, man. Fucking genius. Shouts out to Baby Milk and Berry. Instead of buying our milk at wholesale and flipping it for a profit like a middleman, common drug dealing middleman, he had this genius idea to say, let's just get it direct from the fucking source, dog. So we copped a couple women, a couple dozen women, and we started milking them like fucking cows, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like this shit was Mad Max, the Thunderdome. The scene in Mad Max where water and milk was very it was a desolate wasteland, and they had the king had this very primitive setup of milking women with these machines and just pumping out breast milk just to give his troops some extra calcium, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, we actually started doing this shit. Now this was weird. So, we chained them up in Barry's basement and started milking them them tits. And, we tied up the milk in balloons, for quick access for the babies, like heroin and shit, like the heroin balloons and shit. It was street shit, very, very primitive shit. We started off just pumping these girls, and then we had this very janky setup with an old janitor's water cooler or something. It was shaking, and it'd break down. It's like the ice cream machine at McDonald's, you know what I'm saying? We'd get a good couple of hours of use time, and then it'd be down for the whole day. But we were making our own fucking breast milk, you know what I'm saying? We were flipping that shit for real, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we had our trap straight jumping, you know what I'm saying? Business was booming. That's what we was doing, you know what I'm saying? There was a shortage, and we supply and demand, you know what I'm saying? We kept the supply going, and we was in demand, you know what I'm saying? We was the men. We was the guys in our city, man. This is what we did, bro. And then I was telling them yo, we got 2 for $5s down here, you know what I'm saying? You trying to cost something, we got 2 for $5s, niggas got garbage on the way, you know what I'm saying? It's on gang, cuz. Fuck you doing buying shit from the stores and shit, you know what I'm saying? You gonna pay for store formula? First of all, they cut that shit, you know what I'm saying? And second of all, they charge at a higher price than us anyways, you know? The motherfuckers, you trust the government with, feeding your babies. Them motherfuckers can't keep shit on the shelves, dog. Keep losing the supply chains and shit, you know? So, anyways, man, we was like, yo, we got a better quality and a higher quantity, you know what I mean, for a cheaper commodity. It just is what it is. You pay less. How could you go wrong? That's like saying, yo, we need better quality clothes for less, you know what I'm saying? Better quality fucking food. Eating healthy, and it costs less, and it comes in an abundance. Come on, son. We feeding these babies like it ain't nothing, bruh. We got these babies hooked on our shit, bruh. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying, like, yo, we started opening up wholesale warehouses and shit. We called them Baby Got Milk. That was our business, Baby Got Milk. You know what I'm saying? And our direct competition was like Amazon, Walmart, Costco's, those big honchos. They're trying to shut us down. They're trying to put the works on us, man. And we heard that Amazon tried dipping into our sales by providing other breast milk, you know what I'm saying? And they're just trying to sell organic breast milk and shit. So I went and paid Jeff Bezos a visit, you know what I'm saying? I paid that motherfucker a little visit, man. Sat his ass down, right? Sat his ass down. I'm like, yo, listen. You think you can really come up on a turf like that, huh? You think you could really, see some niggas getting some money and shit? I gave him the business, right? And he was like, talk is cheap, man. See it on the field, right? Let's see it on the field, bruh. That's what he was saying. And he was really, he really put his balls on the table, right? Almost had me tucked in for a second. But luckily, I had a little bit of breast. I had a vial of our shit, you know what I'm saying? I had a vial of our primo blend of organic breast milk, So I gave him a line, bro. I gave him a hit, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, yo, just take that shit and just tell me it's not the best fucking breast milk you ever had in your life, dog. One hit, bro. You know what I'm saying? His eyes started rolling back. His got all wide, pupils dilating and shit. He made one phone call. Suddenly, this nigga working for us now. He ain't pumped no more other breast milk on Amazon other than our breast milk. You know what I'm saying? That's just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? He even shut down, all the competitors and shit trying to sell online, bro. Amazon, they came through. They seen the side. They knew what side was right. You know what I'm saying? Come to the dark side. We got cookies and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's just what we do. This is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, after the link with Amazon, the endorsement from them, he linked us up with some real farming agencies, you know what I'm saying? He helped us with, equipment, tractors, barns to host these women, bigger space, just real industrial level shit, bro. We were getting up into the ranks. It was like, it was like on some shit, bro. Bezos hit us with the juice, and we double, triple, quadruple. We just kept flipping, bro. He gave us the bag essentially, right? Because he's seen the hunger in my eyes, and we started flipping the bag, bro. We weren't tumbling the bag. Don't get me wrong. We took the bag and we doubled it, tripled it, quadrupled it, up into the point where exponents and shit, bro. We were putting work on that bag. That bag was doing acrobatics, if you will. That bag was flipping like fucking gymnastics and shit. That bag was flipping like a bag almost like an empty bag in the wind. Shouts out Katy Perry, if you ever feel like a bag in the wind floating through the breeze, but that's what our bag was doing, except we was in a controlled state. We was in that shit. We was hopped up on that shit now. We started with the industrial equipment and we started revolutionizing our shit, you know what I'm saying? We started getting, factory lines going of milking these women. We started adding like additives in this stuff and trying to make our our baby milk a lot more healthier. We put in like proteins, zincs, whole lot of vitamins and minerals and shit, all kinds of shit. And we even dropped a little hint of caffeine, keep them babies crawling back, baby. You know what I'm saying? But like it was a nice formula. Like we had it down to a science because dude, baby milk and Barry, bro, he was the visionary, bro. He had like, I was just being the middleman trying to buy it off of the competitors and shit and then flipping it for a profit. I didn't have the vision that he did, and he was a visionary, man. He really seen it come to fruition, and I was really happy, man, that he got to see our business booming like it was, right? And when we got done with this final mix, man, and it was like the mix to end all mixes, this breast milk what literally have you slap your mom. You know what I'm saying? You take one hit of this breast milk, you slapping your mom. You straight from the source, baby. It makes you want to suck titties all day, even if you a chick and you straight and shit. You take one hit of this breast milk, bro, you might go lesbian. That's just is what it is. It was a thespian level of breast milk. It was like a breast milk that has been through like 20 to 30 years of Broadway plays and an actor. It was a legitimate like this breast milk had a legitimate calling for your mouth, right? It just wanted to be on the tip of your tongue and just roll down. And with all the additives that we had, and when we got done with the final mix, this breast milk came out blue. You know what I'm saying? We was flipping blue breast milk from coast to coast, baby. We was doing that shit. And we was breaking down moms. You know what I'm saying? We were breaking moms and shit. We would go into like bad homes and shit. We just pick up the fattest titty bitch. You know what I'm saying? If the place with like 3 sisters and shit all together, we'd pick up the biggest chest, of course, because we still doing supply and demand and shit. We was picking up, and it got to a point where we was we were trying to get these women. We'd have to kidnap them, obviously. Got to a point where the government tried to step in, you know what I'm saying? And then we paid them off through breast milk, you know what I'm saying? We paid them off. The government tried to shut us down and shit multiple times. We paid them off, so, and Amazon essentially was like, here's how you get around. And he's like, Jeff Bezos sat us down, right? He's like, you want to get around taxes and you want to get around, treating your employees like shit. And he's like, and we're like, yeah. And dude, we thought we're like sitting down like 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying, when the drug dealer taught them boys how to make a crack. He's like, he sat us down and he had like a presentation and shit. And he's like, you want to know how to get the government off your back? And we was like, yeah, man, yeah. We was all like, we're like waiting for something big, bro. This motherfucker put in an N64. Fucking Super Nintendo. It was not even an N64. It was the older one. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? This is the richest man alive, and he's going in back into the 90s video games. He put that motherfucker. He put the cartridge was Super Mario, bro. And he's like, here's how you get rid of the cops. And then he's like, see, look right there. And he said it was a little turtle. He's like, right there. That's the police, right? And he jumped on top of the turtle. And he grabbed the turtle shell and threw it at the other turtles. He's like, that's how you do it. And he just walked out. The son of a bitch just walked out, dude. I couldn't believe it. It was wild. Because we all sat around like, did Jeff Bezos really tell us to evade taxes and lawsuits against your company? By literally just playing the first, not even completing. He didn't even complete the level. He just jumped on the turtle and tossed his shell at the other turtles and turned off the game and walked out. Turned off the projector, walked out. And we're like, yo, this is wild. This is insane. But at the same time, at that time it didn't make sense. But throughout the next couple of months, the only way we were really getting rid of, the cops and the feds and the taxes, is that we would pay off the dudes and get them to work with us, and then we would use the shell of the dirty cops to blanket us and help shield us against the regular, the good boys, if you will, the good government agents, which there's so few because we just paid so many off. There's such a corrupt place because we just kept paying them off. But yeah, I would say it wasn't all sunshines and rainbows. Apparently the breast milk game isn't as easy as breastfeeding. As mothers will tell you, it's not like stealing candy from a baby. You know what I'm saying? There was a tricky situation. It was a rough road. This game, this game is a game to not be played lightly. You know what I'm saying? You got to err on the side of caution. We got word that a local gang was trying to do numbers on our turf. They're titled, this gang was kind of small gang, but they were coming up. They're called the PNKs, we call them the puffy nipple killers, They took a lot of our street clients, man. With low income, they had it cheaper, and they had pink milk, so they were doing pink milk, and that's feminine right off top, you know what I'm saying? You already know, blue or pink, you know what I'm saying? Blue, a lot more stronger color, the whole sky blue, baby. Very rare is the sky pink, baby. But yeah, Baby Milk and Berry walked into their establishment, or their trap. It was a dingy trap house. It was nothing to, it wasn't nothing to take a second glance at, if you will. And he came in with a few of our guys, very heavy, bro. Set their whole place on fire, bro. No one was there, set their whole place on fire. But while they were pulling out, trucks were pulling in, and Barry took 2 to the head, man. When he was fleeing the scene, Barry took 2 to the head. That's the price of doing business, you know what I'm saying? But yeah. R.I.P. Baby Milk and Berry, man. He was a visionary. He was this shit, and I'm gonna see this shit to fruition, right? I'm gonna see his dreams I'm gonna see his dreams, come true, right? And he seen it in the works, and he kind of got a little headstrong. Going in, burning the place. He was one of the top guys. Why did he do it himself? But he was that. Even though he was the boss, he was still at the front lines of the shit. You know what I'm saying? So nothing but respect to Baby Milk and Berry, baby. We had a lot of guys, man. We had Walter, Where's the White? Latch On Larry. Connor Copperfield Carson, Jesse Pump 'em Up Pinkman, and Big Booby Bobby, baby. And we all moved up in the ranks once Barry was gone, no one more than me, because I was with Baby Milk and Berry from the beginning, you know what I'm saying? We was like Steve Jobs and the other guy. We was like Bill Gates and the other guy. We was like Elon Musk and his friend, you know what I'm saying? We was like the business partners, Siegfried and Roy, you know what I'm saying? Hall and Oates, you know what I'm saying? Opie and Anthony, you know what I'm saying? Just the Ray Schremer, you know what I'm saying? Slim Jimmy and the other guy that raps was Slim Jimmy. The more popular one. But I was Slim Jimmy. Don't get me wrong. I was the second up. I was just the guy following orders, right? I was the Oates to his Hall. Was Hall the guy? Either way, Jay to Beyonce. I was Jay-Z. I let him do a lot of dancing on stage, if you will. But I moved up. Once he was gone, I moved up into that position, right? And I had to prove my worth. I had to set these boys straight. You know what I'm saying? Latch on Larry spoke to me about a little problem we had. You know what I'm saying? Apparently Frankie, and we call it Frankie. We call Frankie Formula Frankie, right? You know what I'm saying? This guy was getting high off his own supply, and his drops were coming in a little light. You know what I'm saying? His shit was like, it'd come down to it like we need $100,000 every month from this motherfucker. Then it became 90, then it became 80, and it became 70. Once it got to 60, I started knocking at his door. You know what I'm saying? Came in the clutch and shit, kicked down his door. You know what I'm saying? And because I was knocking and no answer. Then I kicked down the door. I said, "Yo, shit, Frankie, you know what I mean?" And he was scrambling, bro. He was like, he has a bunch of newspapers all over the floor. It looked like he hasn't bathed in weeks. You know what I'm saying? He was like, he's in the corner huddled like one of those I Am Legend zombies and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, Frankie, you drinking our shit, man. You drinking our shit. And I slapped him on the side of the head. And he started cowering and shit. He said, "Nah, man, nah, not at all, man." And nah. And this dude was tweaking, you know what I'm saying? I could see into his pupils and shit. He was gone off, that on that baby milk. And I said, what's that fucking stuff on the side of your mouth? What's that blue shit on the side of your mouth, motherfucker? You know what I'm saying? He said, "Oh, it's Mountain Dew, man. It's Mountain Dew. It's that voltage Mountain Dew, bro." And I was like, "Bullshit, man. Let me taste it, right?" I put a gun to his head. I said, "Yo, let me taste this shit." And he started sweating. So I could see his eyes getting real wide. He was worried, right? And I put my finger around his lip. And I tasted it. Son of a bitch, was breast milk. This man was off the shits, bro. This man was dipping into our funds, dipping into our supply chain, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So, and it was pure uncut milk, bro. This actually tasted better than shit we were selling, to the public. I don't know how he got that, but I said, "Frankie, man, we could have worked something out. Frankie, why did you do this shit, man? Why'd you do this to me, man?" I was like, "Yo, you took our shit. You lied to me. You know what I mean? We could have moved past this. We could have got you help, sent you to a rehab facility. But you lied to me, Frankie. And I gotta make an example out of you." I shot him in the head. Took all the leftover milk that he had, scrounged around, took all his, jewelry and shit, ransacked the place, and I burned it down. No evidence and shit. And back in my office, man, I was stressed out. I was looking at that shit, and I had a little taste of that breast milk, and I was like, kind of tripping still. So I poured me a couple cups of the breast milk, you know what I'm saying, and I poured up, man. Because Formula Frankie was a formula baby, man. His mother said he couldn't latch on and shit. So when he got his first real hit of breast milk, motherfucker went crazy, right? Motherfucker went mad. He couldn't handle it, man. It was like crack to him. And then, he went off the wires and shit. And I had to kill him. I had to do that. I had to do him in, It was tough, but ain't no sense in crying over spilled milk, so anyways, more and more moving on from the breast milk shortage. More and more shootings are going on, you know what I'm saying, in the United States. A lot of shootings going on, and people with guns, stop that shit, man. Stop that shit, guys. You guys gotta stop shooting. With these mass murderers, man, there's a special place in hell for these people, right? With the Buffalo shooter, he was racist. He was trying to gun down a lot of black men. I say if it's possible, he's probably in hell, right? Just constantly getting is booty clap, is booty clap, bro. I think with a lot of these guys, especially racists and shit, there's only one thing you get in the afterlife, and it's like horrible. It's like the Dante's level of inferno, man. I believe in God, man. Shouts out to God. I love you, God. But I also believe that there's like some sort of evil, when people, because the I don't know if it's like the devil or anything, or if it's just literally just torture, or you come back and reincarnated as like an ant or something, like, or like an amoeba, or you're just constantly just shit out of luck. You're not coming back as like a nice flower. You know what I'm saying? You're coming back as like a gazelle that gets chased his whole life by the lions, baby. And I mean, it's a cowardly thing, to just unload on unarmed people. It's cowardly to just walk around and walk into in a school or any public place and just open fire, because these guys are like, they got a lot of mental problems. They're fucking crazy. They come in and they shoot down a bunch of people, and then they off themselves, and it's like they're such losers. You know what I mean? They can't even go out alone. You know what I'm saying? It's because they spent their whole life alone, probably neglected by their parents. You know what I'm saying? Not loved. A lot of these people are incels. They can't get, they're virgins and shit. 18-year-old shooters and whatever they are. Whatever, like just dudes that never got laid before. They never got their money together. You know what I'm saying? Always, just struggling with shit. They're losers. And the picture, the media puts out is like, we gotta control guns and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know, like, there's a whole lot of guns in America. It statistically, it should happen a lot more if that was the direct problem. But I think it might be mental health, but it also might just be a weird coincidence that a lot of these guys are like, federally funded. A lot of these guys get like ransacked. Like, a lot of these guys get, the FBI knocking at their door every now and then and saying, hey, what's all these posts that you're doing on 4chan, buddy? What's all these wild conspiracies that you drum up every now and then on Facebook? You know what I mean? You're dropping a lot of shit on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? You're taking photos of a lot of guns on Facebook and saying that you're gonna bring what God wants to earth or some shit. You're talking crazy, dude. You're fucking crazy, motherfucker. And it's weird that the FBI, knows a lot of these guys. Like the CIA and the people monitoring it, the Alphabet Boys, they know that these guys are dangerous. They know that these guys are like fucked in the head, because they have to monitor all of their shit. Like, I thought the government knew everything about everything about everyone. I would assume that the majority of shit that you share, where you go, I'm just gonna tweet this out, is more information that you had than all of history before the internet was existed. So they should have, with these checks and balances, like the TSA, whatever, the monitoring, the government monitoring our phones. Why doesn't it prevent shit like this yet? Why haven't we gotten to the point? And the conspiracy to me is, well, okay, I'll break down the conspiracy in a bit, but with this most recent one, the Texas shooter shooting children in an elementary school. It was like 19 children and 2 teachers in the school shooting in Texas, man. And I pray for all the families in all of these shootings, and it's wild that it happens so frequently that people, there's word on the internet that people have gotten tired of it. Like, it's like, okay, another one. But in reality, man, it's tough for anybody to deal with that. Whether it's fucking sponsored by the government, which is wild, whether it's fucking just a crazy person, it's just, I can't imagine the families, and I pray for all the families and all the victims of these recent shootings, because it's horrendous, man. It's horrendous. I pray for all the people involved, including, you know, the people that feel the need to go around shooting. And I you know what, I pray that it doesn't happen again. I pray that these fucking people get help, because they're fucking sick fucks. Also, if they did shoot, you know, for all these people that shoot a bunch of people, I pray that, you know, the devil does work. I pray that the devil does exist, because there is evil out there. There's some just evil people that don't give a fuck. There's motherfucking killers. That's just, it is what it is. And I pray that the devil deals with these people, you know what I'm saying, in a very methodical, you know what I mean, and horrific way. You know, shit that makes, you know, like the average horror movie that you've been watching go, that ain't nothing. You know, the devil cracks his fingers and he starts torturing and tormenting them for all of eternity, please. You know, that's just what it is. And I don't wish that upon any normal person, of course, any person that just makes mistakes. I pray for people that take the lives, especially due to children, and just, you know, just black, you know, oh, I just hate black people, I'm gonna go shoot up a bunch of fucking, you know, it's just sick. It's sick, you know, shooting these Mexican children, and it's wild. And I pray that their families do well. And I kind of got off a little bit, but I pray that the families are doing okay, and I pray for all of those innocent children and innocent people in the shootings, the teachers, that I pray that it wasn't a painful death, and they lived their life, and they're gonna come back, because they were good souls, right? They were innocent people. But it is fucked up, man. It's fucked up, and it feels like it's happening too much. And I think, I mean, you can argue all you want, but there is a certain degree of truth when it comes down to Canada has the same amount of mental health problems as America. The only difference, I think, in Canada and America is, like, the big obvious thing is the gun control. In Canada, it's a little bit more strict. Just a little bit. It's not even that much more strict than America. Like, I mean, if I really wanted to, you know, I could go down the street and find a gun in Canada. But I joke around a lot. I mean, to get a little serious, I fuck around a lot. And I got these little CO2 pistols or whatever, but I mean, even then, I'm like, man, this is a fucking deadly weapon. This is a deadly weapon, right? I got a bat in my trunk, and I go, you know, maybe we'll lock it up in my trunk, because it can be used when in a fit of rage to just express your anger to anybody. Which, I mean, obviously, I'm smart enough and clear that I didn't, you know, there's no assault charges on me or anything, but I mean, if I had a gun, there'd be, like, it's just so easy. Like, if any single point in your life, and I think even my mom said it, and my mom's the sweetest person ever, but she's like, I can't have a gun. Who the fuck is, no, I just shot a whole bunch of dumb fucks as of late. And it's like that whole, anyone can just have a bad day. Anyone could just have a bad day. Now imagine and I don't want to say that we can just sum up every shooting as a dude having a bad day and it could happen at any time, because that's a little too easy. That's a little too light for these, you know, sick fucks. A lot of the time it's a slow build. We all watched The Joker, you know. We watched this guy just a perpetual loser. And I think a lot of these guys watch the movie and they go, hey, yeah, I mean, but then it just, like, to see something happen and then watch it go through. It's almost like if you're a kid playing GTA and, you know, all the senseless killing kind of puts into perspective once you get to a certain, you know, not level in the game, but a certain level-headed mindset where you can kind of realize, you know, all this shit. Because you could hop into a game and differentiate that it's just a video game, right? And like movies and art and stuff, you could listen to rap all day and feel a certain way and go, yeah, yeah, this, a dude's talking about killing or something. But you can put in perspective that it's just a thought. A lot of these, but I think a lot of these dudes, I think they're all men, right? All men shooters. A lot of these guys, they're troubled. Either they come from troubled, backgrounds. They come from just horrendous, lives. There's not a lot of mental health help for them. They live their life and they slowly get deeper and deeper into this weird emotionalist lifestyle where they were on an internet forum, and an internet forum, like 4chan or something, where it's just a dude trolling, a dude trolling you. Yeah, go ahead, kill everybody. Yeah, nobody gives a fuck. I'm killing myself. If you read those things without a grain of salt, you read these forums without like a lot of it's fiction. All of it's fiction. Sometimes there's some real shit, but it's usually the psychopaths that are like, yeah, so here's the head of a dead body I killed. A lot of those people are fucking crazy, right? But if you read a lot of the stories are embellished. A lot of the stories are fucked, and everything. But if they're just constantly, they're just on the worst parts of the internet in this subculture where they think people are like them, but there's a lot of just people trolling to pretend to be that crazy person, right? Or you're watching you're just scrolling through Instagram, seeing a bunch of your friends being the best versions of themselves, which a lot of the time it's cap. A lot of the time these people aren't real. You can kind of get into this weird state with your head. You know what I'm saying? And with mental illness, man, there's a couple of crackheads that I've seen on the corner of my block, and I would tell you, they do not need a gun. If a gun was easy access for them, guaranteed, a 7-Eleven dude getting shot, a liquor, the liquor mart, the liquor mart or beer vendor, the local beer vendors, those guys are getting shot because I know those crackheads. I've seen them when they're sober. And the weirdest thing is seeing these crackheads when they're meth heads or whatever. They're normal walkers. They're just walking around, kind of like, looking around maybe for their next hit or whatever. But when they're tweaking, man, I seen this dude dance for 12 hours. Right? I fucking drove home from work, went to sleep, woke back up, whatever, 12 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours later. Dude's still dancing, bro. He's still dancing on the corner of 7-Eleven, just fucking getting it. And he didn't even come up with new dance moves, dude. He was on the repeat of like 3 or 4 dance moves. Now, if he like had a gun, there's no telling what he would do because he's dancing for 12 hours. Nobody does that, right? And to make the argument of in favor of gun control, a lot of it comes down to the access to weapons. Now, if everyone has a knife, more people get stabbed, right? But if everyone's also happy and healthy, I think less people get stabbed, even with the fact that everyone has knives. In Canada, probably for mental health, we're probably great. There's a lot of people that I think everybody deals with it. Everybody has problems. Everybody gets stressed out. Everybody has a certain lot. Like, I wouldn't say it's like a lost in life time. There's a time frame when you're picking what you want to do in your life, right? Because in a first world country, you have so many options, and you can kind of get carried away with the options, or you can kind of have FOMO, right? Where it's like you have a fear of missing out. Like, say, for me personally, I had a fear of missing out going to college right after, or college or university right after high school, and I felt kind of like a loser, but at the same time, I was still starting off my life, so my brain had this weird defense mechanism where I almost wanted to show people that I was better than just having the job that I had. And I had a pretty fucking fairly shitty job, but I was constantly trying to overcompensate for that job, and it came out in weird, strange ways, like up all night working and coming home writing raps. I would make a lot of mixtapes during this time, and I just wasn't getting enough sleep, and and eventually it led to me crashing and involuntarily into a mental hospital. And I think the more that I think about it, and the more that I kind of roll it in my head, the more I go, it was like, I wouldn't say it was like, oh, it's the drugs or it was the up all night kind of thing, because I can stay awake for weeks and I can stay awake for a while at least and not feel so bad. But I think it was just a combination of just really not knowing what I wanted to do, and kind of having doubts in what I was doing, which was rapping. I kind of felt like I would probably never be the famous guy. I don't see because even then, if I role play that, I don't like that. I don't like when people come up to me on the street. I don't like when I walk into a place and it's like, hey, you know why my birthdays suck? Because that's how I like them. I don't want a lot of people to go, hey, happy birthday. I don't want a lot of people in my life. It's like I prefer to be alone, because that's where my fucking I can't write a whole fucking, you know what I mean? You can't write a whole, breast milk, pumping breast milk skit. I can't write that with 5-6 people having a party. You just can't write those things. And a lot of my shit is like, I like just being alone so I can write these elaborate like fox tales, like Oscar Wilde, you know what I'm saying, like Hemingway, bruh, like a Shakespeare, dog. And these are the greatest writers of the time, right? Of their times, right? And I'm on that level too. But if going unchecked and say I never got better, I never harmed anybody, I never hurt anybody, but I could see if I came from a broken home, if I came from a place where my mom never loved me, if I was abused in school or something. Yeah, I could see how mental illness would play an impact on certain people in life, and if left unchecked, man, especially for men, because the whole thing is men are easier to deal with. If you have a boy, men are easy to deal with, but it's because there's no reward system for men sharing their emotions. The best that we have is literally a podcast, which is talking to the ethers for the internet, and talking to the internet for God knows how many hours you do it. How many, once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times, on the Joe Rogan Experience, 4 or 5 times a week with 3 hours apiece. And you constantly need that sharing information, sharing your emotions, sharing your feelings and your opinions, and how you feel on the day, because men don't get shit. If a man's single and he doesn't have a girl, and even then, even if he does have a girl, and you think a guy just shares his shit with his girl all day? Because it works maybe for a couple months, but then girl kind of feels like it's a weakness if you I want to talk about my day, baby. Like, what the fuck? Who's this pussy nigga that I used to know? This is somebody that I used to know, you know what I'm saying? I think there's no real reward system. We'll end on the note that I don't think there's a real reward system for men with mental. And this is 2 separate things. Separate, because it is still a gun control problem in America. And I kind of argued with my buddy the other a couple months back about the gun control problem is a problem. But he was like, yeah, but if I put a gun down on the table, right, and that's the age-old additive, will that gun shoot anybody? No, but if I wanted to shoot somebody, That gun makes it so much easier, right? Gun makes it so much easier to just end somebody's life. It puts everybody at anybody that has a bad day, anybody that does, like, especially like with kids running around. Do you think it's easy? Is it nice to have, fucking 13, 14 year olds in school with guns, and they gotta bring guns because other people are bringing guns, and they seen, little Tommy out with a Tommy gun at school? You think that's fucking, like, you think that's like, oh yeah, well, it's God-given right to have a gun, right? It is a problem. Don't get me wrong, but it's also I don't understand why it's the left and the right. There's two sides. You know what I mean? There's two sides, and I feel like I'm stuck with the Green Party, going like, yo, it's guns. Don't get me wrong, and it's also mental health. It's a combined thing. Like, people could have their guns as long as they check out with the mental health. That's the rules. That's the system that they invented. So, like, yo, and a lot of these people, and selling guns is a big market too. So you can sell guns to like crazy people if you're kind of sketchy. And it goes down the list like a game of Secret, where it's like, first of all, the government gets the guns. They're very, safe and diligent. The government's very honest and trustworthy. They get the guns, and then the guns get flooded out into these markets. Now these markets get, people that buy guns and sell them at registered gun stores. Then, it goes down to like selling to the customer. Now the customer comes in, buys a bunch of guns. He's got an arsenal of guns. Then he may know some people. He's like, I got all these guns. I just, want to buy them in bulk, take them in bulk. I just fucking, what am I going to do with all these guns? I'm on my deathbed. All these guns get, put. This is one guy. Now, this one guy's kind of shady. This one guy's like Matthew McConaughey in that movie with that white boy Rick. He's pumping guns out. Now, he gets his son just to, distribute guns all around to these inner city gangs. And that's, I think, how it is. And in the gang, I mean, you're a gang member. You're like, I don't give a fuck. You want to shoot something up? Here's a gun. I just want some money. And it gets down to like the brass tacks of guns. Any gun control in itself is that, you create, what is it? If you have a hammer, everything starts looking like a nail. If you have a gun, everything looks like a target, right? Because, like, I mean, me and the boys started shooting bottles. We started shooting bottles with my little CO2, and it's fun. But the boys are like, yo, let's fucking shoot again. Let's do it again. And they're getting blood, because these guys are crazy. They're getting bloodthirsty for the bottles. They're trying to kill these bottles. And I think everything can get carried away, right? In life, you need a healthy medium. You need a balance. You need something to kind of offset these struggles internally. And yeah, you can own a gun and never shoot somebody, because it's 90% of Americans do that. And just like you can own a kitchen knife and never stab anybody, just like you can own a fucking baseball bat and never crack it over the side of the head of somebody. You can own a car and never fucking run it into a fucking field of children, right? It's just, that's what it is. But mistakes happen, and there's mistakes, and there's also intentional people that just want to fuck up the world in any little corner of it. And guns make that so much more easier. Moving on. Kendrick Lamar just dropped his new album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Subsequently, Kodak Black was featured on that album, and Kodak Black he just came out of jail. Shouts out to Kodak Black. He's a killer. He just dropped his album, Back for Everything. Now, since Kodak Black was released from jail, he has been on fire. He's been kicking ass and taking names. appearing on everybody's track from Jason Derulo and the infamous Kendrick Lamar album. He was on that. He was he was like one of the two like big headline features besides, Kendrick Lamar's cousin Baby Keem. And Kendrick Lamar's got he's got the lyrics obviously. But for me, I think Kodak Black, and we'll compare the two, because they're the two albums that I'm really like glad are in the ethers of the internet. But Kodak Black has, pain and struggle in his voice. Kodak Black, he's just got out of jail. He's got the hunger. He's got something that I don't know if Kendrick Lamar will ever have, and that's the ability to rap on meth. I mean, he says throughout a lot of his songs that he smokes meth and shit, and fucking dude can still stay on flow. He can still rap. He's still making music. And I think my favorite fucking Kodak Black track as of late in the last year and a half is Feeling Peachy. It's such a song that I can listen to that like constantly over and over again. That's, Feeling Peachy. It's a good song. And it's a single that didn't even make the album. It didn't even make any of his albums. I was looking through his albums. It's just a single, and so it was like, it's just a toss away. You know what I mean? And his new track off of his latest album, Back for Everything, The Midas Touch, is something where you can listen to. You could listen to Midas Touch, and you could hear the pain in his voice, and you can also hear almost like you could hear a lot without, like Kodak Black has a way of giving you just a little, but you can hear everything through it. You can understand this story, and you can paint. He's a vivid storyteller without saying much, right? And probably, one of the albums I could say is that Back for Everything I'm gonna put up against Mr. Morale and a Big Stepper. Now, hip hop fans and hip hop aficionados, listen to me out. Listen to me and let me speak it out. Hear me out on this one. Played front to back both albums, right? I listened to both, so those were the only albums that I could listen to front to back without, because usually when I'm a hip hop fan. I love hip hop in all regards, from the Little B's and Soulja Boys to the Kendrick Lamars and Kanye Wests and Eminems, right? I like it all, and with this new album from Kodak Black, it might be the greatest album that he has produced so far. Now, points on the board for, because everybody raps different, everybody has their different flows, and what makes, you can always go on what makes the dopest rapper, what makes the best rapper. Tupac had soul in his shit, but Biggie had his flows. Don't get me wrong, Biggie had his flows. And the punchlines, is it the punchline motherfuckers like Lil Wayne, or is it the vivid storytelling like Eminem? You see it's all art. It's art. You know what I mean? Some people like these paintings, some people like this, there's different kinds of paintings all around, But for strictly on comparing the artist within the artist, and every artist is in competition with themselves and how they can top themselves. Kodak Black right now with that shit on, he's got Jason Derulo after dropping the song a couple years back with Gucci Mane and Bruno Mars. He reached another level of heights. I feel like right now we're in the prime of Kodak Black, because that Back for Everything album, it's gotten this, like, you can kind of look it over as mumble rap, and it's gotten this, Kodak Black's gotten this weird, like, oh, he's trash, he's part of that generation of mumble rap. But I would say, man, front to back, the album holds up. Like, at first I listened to the Back for Everything album with the intention that it was going to be trash. I put the first track on and I couldn't stop listening to the album front to back. Like, it was literally, wasn't a fairly big Kodak Black fan, but since I heard that song Feeling Peachy, I was like, I gotta give this guy a chance because I'm really liking what he's doing, as of late. Put that on and it turned my mind into thinking like he might be one of the greatest generation musicians of our era. And just put that out there. As far as being able to rap on meth is a big thing, because he talks about it avidly in his songs. In this album, he's like, I'm off meth and shit, on it or whatever. I hope he gets better just because he's a good artist. And a lot of the times with the mumble rap, he even has a song with French Montana called Lockjaw. You know what I mean? He has a song called Lockjaw with French Montana, and it's about doing a lot of drugs and your jaw gets locked up and you can't move your jaw, so you start talking like this. And that's like the origination of mumble rap, right? And for people, like, I tried to explain to my brother one time, I was like, you know why people mumble rap? You know why these rappers mumble rap? Because I don't think they want to snitch on themselves. I don't think that they want to do anything, but it's like the studio is like a therapy. So they have to go through it, talk to somebody. It's like podcasts or something. It's a form of therapeutic remedies. But these guys don't write. They just, so they take a couple of Xans, or they take a little bit of lean or something, and they're fucked up. Whether they're just drunk or high or whatever, both, right? You're just fucked up, and you start slurring your words. You start talking with an accent, barely moving your jaw, but you're still kind of talking like this. Mumble rap. That's like the origins, and I'm pretty sure that's because that's my logical thinking of like how so many of these mumble rappers, because a lot of them are doing the drugs, they're all talking about it, so they created their own kind of style as far as just getting high in the studio and rhyming, right? So, and as far as that generation, Kodak Black might be the king of his element. He's the king of his element, and he's having the best time right now. I believe he's having his best time. Now moving on to Kendrick Lamar. As far as actually, you know what? No. I got a couple more things for Kodak Black. As far as playability for Kodak Black, he has a way of rapping where you can't get enough. I can hear the pain and struggle through his mumble raps. He has stated multiple times that he's an avid meth user, and to be honest, it's insane how it doesn't get in the way of his writing and or his rhyming and his storytelling. Because the way his quality, it doesn't get in the way of the quality of his music. And a lot of people, don't do drugs like that, but to explain it and to get into your song and get your listeners into your head, I understand a lot of what he goes through and the pain and the struggle of addiction, because it's happening and it's unfolding right in front of like our eyes and our ears, especially in our ears when we're listening to his music. He unfolds a certain part of people's brains in addiction. Now, speaking of addiction, I'll light up a smoke 1 sec. Now, Kendrick Lamar, as far as I know, he doesn't do hard drugs, right? Maybe he smokes a little bit of weed, drinks a little bit. Maybe he's gone full Muslim and he's completely sober. So that's strike one, right? Second, Kendrick Lamar called Kodak Black to hop on his album. Kodak Black did not call Kendrick Lamar to hop on his album. Strike two. No doubt in my mind, though, like, in all honesty, no doubt in my mind, Kendrick Lamar lyrically is so much better than Kodak Black. and he's more creative at times. He's a lot more creative. He's not just making a song. He's making like art, right? Kendrick Lamar. But in my mind, there's also no doubt that Kodak Black has lived and experienced life to the utmost, moreover than Kendrick. You know, he's been to jail. He's done this. He's done constant armed robberies. He talks about murder a lot. I don't know if he does or not. I mean, it is what it is. But he seems like he's grown up around these guys, and he probably still has a lot of these, you know, gangsters in his life, and he's still really about it. And you know, he went to jail just for the gun charges the other day. He got shot at Justin. No, side note. Kodak Black got shot recently at Justin Bieber's party. Right? One of the safest people you could be at his party. I'm sure he has security. But he gets shot. You know, he got shot. And he got shot in like the ass cheek or something. Which is wild. Like, that in itself is an experience that probably would be the highlight of most people's life. But that's just every day Tuesday for Kodak Black and his crazy wild antics, right? So there's no doubt in my mind that he has a life that you can kind of, you would rather watch, you know, The Wolf of Wall Street than the clean cut how to do banking properly guys. You know what I mean? You just rather watch, you know, Jordan Belfort talk some shit than you would want to hear some real estate mogul that, you know, just played safe every day, right? And the comparison's kind of there, kind of not. But you know what I'm saying? And another strike against Kendrick is Kendrick Lamar opened up about, you know, and this is a weakness, you know, you never admit this shit. You never want to admit this stuff on your songs. Well, Kendrick Lamar said he had writer's block for 2 years. Now, real niggas like Kodak, they don't get writer's block. They always got something, you know, that they could just talk about, bro. That's why so many motherfuckers have these stories about shooting people and shit. Because, you know, ultimately, they got so much material, right? It's content. But Kendrick Lamar went 2 years struggling to find his flow, his rhythm, his lyrics, or whatever. But creatively dropping a song, and this is points for Kendrick, about a couple fighting, you know, the We Cry Together track. To me, that probably is the best song on the album because it's so unique. Points for creativity. Most unique song I've ever heard as of late. It's literally a song about two couples, you know, a man and a woman fighting, arguing, cussing each other out, but you could dance to it. You can hit that Millie rock, bruh. You can vibe to that song about them two people cussing each other out, right? Is wild. Which to me, that, you know, points on the board for Kendrick on that. And my favorite song on the album, Mr. Morale, is Silent Hill. Pussy niggas out me like, pussy bitches out me like, I to me, that's it's a unique come in for a hook. You know, pussy nigga, it's good. It's good, don't get me wrong. Kendrick Lamar's got bangers. But it felt kind of lackadaisical throughout the album. I listened to it, and there's times where I'm going, okay, I'm out. And he got me back in. With Kodak Black's album, I was in it pretty much the whole way. There's a couple times where Kodak is off flow. There's a couple times where Kendrick's off flow. But as far as MCing goes, it's more noticeable when the greats like Kendrick are off than Kodak. You give more leeway for the mumble rap, right? And Kodak Black coming in on Silent Hill, you know, off the pharmaceuticals, bro. He dropped I think that was the biggest word in the song, to be honest, pharmaceuticals. You know what I'm saying? That's a big word. You know, points on the board for Kodak just dropping that word. You know, he's off the pharmaceuticals. I don't know, man. Like, he's like a lovable character. Whereas Kendrick Lamar, you expect him to do the right thing all the time. And there might be pressure, but you expect, what is it? A guy to push the boulder up the hill every day. just because he has to do it, right? Just because he's strong enough to do it. And like with the Kendrick album, man, he feels like he's not in his zone. Like I felt like Kodak Black was in his zone with Back for Everything. With Kendrick, it feels he's definitely got an album there. There's definitely bangers on the album. There's definitely introspective lyrical shit in his album and content that you could listen to over and over and over again. But it feels like he's in and around his zone. He's not really deep in. It doesn't feel like it's his best body of work, because he can compare Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers to Pimp a Butterfly. And I listened to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, then I went and listened immediately after, listened to Pimp a Butterfly, and I thought to myself, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers feels like a B-side version of To Pimp a Butterfly, which he did about 9 years ago. To me, personally, I don't know much about the fans and how they feel, and if they think it's the best album to date, okay, they think it's the best album to date. That's their opinion. I feel personally that To Pimp a Butterfly related to and can relate to more people than Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. One, the album title itself. Two, Kendrick Lamar had this thing with a fan during that time when he dropped I Love Myself off of To Pimp a Butterfly. And a fan said, that song, I Love Myself, stopped me from suicide. Now, I don't know much about all the suicides he stopped with the new album. But, you know, I don't, like, I listened to the whole thing, and I don't, like, there's times where I go, these are very specific, you know what I mean? Like, rich spirit and doing the right thing and being raised without a father. Those are all very good, relatable things that we can all kind of, you know, if you grew up without a father, you could all kind of relate to. But I never, like, I Love Myself is one of those things where it's literally telling the audience, you know, to sing along and say, I love myself, right? It's to give a self-image. And I think there's a couple of songs missing off of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers to just generally enjoy yourself. There's no enjoy yourself. It's a struggle album, but there's no like breakthrough, clear defining moment. There's a little bit of the talk on the transgenders, you know, a little bit about, you know, being yourself and loving yourself in that regard. But that's a specific community that he's speaking to, right? And it's like, we're all humans and stuff, but it's kind of like it's the pissing in the wind to please the woke culture, kind of, I felt like. But it could be his true feelings, don't get me wrong, you know, and I'm breaking it down for what it is and how I felt on the album. But I feel like if you can't even top yourself and bodies of work that you've created, it's not the best album. It can't be, because you have To Pimp a Butterfly right there. And then speaking of previous albums, damn, you know, with the direction that he was going, I felt like with Damn, it was tight and by the numbers and by the books. It's like that's where Kendrick Lamar is leaning towards. And he went back to do the To Pimp a Butterfly flow, but he was it was lackadaisical at this point, because it was 9 years of giving that type of rapping a break. He went into, you know, the Black Panther soundtrack, where again, we like to think Kendrick Lamar is this deep intellectual guy, but he still has songs. Literally the main hit song on the album, Black Panther, he was rapping some shit like I bought a 87 Cutlass for the weekend. I made 200,000 and I freaked it. That was the hook. Let's be honest. If Kendrick Lamar is this lyrical for the hit song Black Panther, The hook was, I made 200,000, then I freaked it. The ad lib was, I freaked it. That was a thing. You know what I mean? And the hit song of his last album literally was Sit Down and Be Humble. Literally, Sit Down, Be Humble. His next song, immediately I bought an 87 Cutlass for the weekend. I bought it, and he got Future on the song saying, I put a Rolls Royce on my wrist, so yeah. This is, what I mean? Let's just attack it for what it is itself. It's not there's not some deep metaphor. You know what I mean? It's a flashy song that didn't really make sense being on the Black Panther album. Is this what Black Panther fought for? No. So let's just be honest, man. It feels like that whole kind of lead up is to why he felt, and especially with New Freezer. It's like, to be honest, man, to throw that out there, like, it felt like Kendrick Lamar was kind of trying to play both sides of the lyrical miracles and also getting flows that melt your head, right? But with the direction of Damn and the way he was going, he said there was rumors that, or I don't know if he said it specifically, but I heard that there was rumors that he was going to do a follow-up album of Damn. It was going to be in blue. And personally, I'd prefer if he kept what he was building towards, because he had something. Damn was a great album. And if he kind of flipped it, right? It was like the Crips and the Bloods. He was kind of doing the red and blue. If he flipped it and kind of still kept that direction of what he was doing, because he got tighter flows, right? Humble was a dope flow. Lyrics aside, it was dope. I mean, he was kind of bragging about his left stroke going viral. Just a viral clip of him playing golf. I mean, the lyrics weren't, they weren't fucking deep metaphors that we're known to use. He was going in a different direction, but then he brought it back. And it's great that he brought it back. It's great that if he kept working on it, but again, with rap and art, there's a whole allocation of skill points that you have, like a video game, where you can work on the flows, or you can work on the lyrics, or you can work on the creativity, or the story, or the baseline melodies and the harmonies, or the how fast you rap, or how on point it is, or how dope your rhyme word pattern scheme is. There's a whole slew of things that come to mind when you can choose to make your rap songs. And sometimes you got to sacrifice lyrics for flow. Sometimes you got to sacrifice flow for lyrics. And it's like Kendrick Lamar brought back the lyrics side of it after so many further albums and to be honest, if I don't think it's the best work. I was just gonna leave on this note. I don't think it was the best work that Kendrick did, because To Pimp a Butterfly I listened to right after, and I was like nodding my head the whole way through. Like, it was like there's sometimes on Mr. Morale where I'm just sitting there kind of going like, I have no idea what this dude's talking about. I cannot relate at all, which is not, no matter who you are, if you have a whole song or 2 songs, 3 songs, couple intros, where you just sit there and you go, I don't know what this fucking artist is trying to portray. I don't know what kind of vibe or feeling he's trying to have. But then when they get you back, you want to make an album with no duds, right? And I think with specifically on Kodak Black, he made an album that was him, where even if I wasn't into it, I knew what he was saying. He had a fucking voice that had to be heard. And I feel like the majority of Kendrick Lamar's songs on the new album had to be heard. But then there's also those B-sides where you go, you could skip that one. You could skip that one. Skip that one. Hear the shit. Right? That's Kendrick Lamar. There's a new album in a nutshell to me, where I could listen to all of Kodak Black shit. And we're only specifically comparing them within themselves. Kendrick Lamar kind of fell short on that regard. To me, at least. I could be fucking batshit crazy. I could be mentally ill, right? I could be talking out of my ass and I might not know what I'm talking about. But to me specifically, I felt like Kendrick Lamar didn't give it his all. And I joked with my buddy and I said it's mid, but he was like, how dare you? But time will tell. It's definitely not mid. I'd say it's about a 70 to 80 percentile mark as far as genius, creativity, originality, music is concerned, and it's literally just topped by his own fucking works, To Pimp a Butterfly. I think To Pimp a Butterfly was there, and I said this with Cole too, with J. Cole. I'm like, no matter what, you listen to the early works of J. Cole. You listen to Forest, 2014 Forest Hills Drive. Bro, like, are we even in discussion that his album Forest Hill Drive was better than KOD? Is it a discussion? Because I'll sit and I'll debate with people if they think KOD is better than fucking Forest Hill Drive. I'm sorry. Forest Hill Drive literally had that song apparently talking about his mom, which great. And I don't know, was Wet Dreams might be on that one. It might be on the new one, but I don't really fuck with that. I've heard other underground songs that kind of sound like Wet Dreams. I've heard multiple stories that kind of follow that same rhythmic pattern of Wet Dreams. And I've heard underground shit that sounds better than Wet Dreams, talking about their first time that lost their... Wasn't that song Anime? Caroline? It was like the first love kind of thing, Caroline. But it was kind of a different kind of vibe, as far... But again, stories and music, and we can get into the debates of how a song... Because at the end of the day, the songs have to be playable, right? And I feel like with a lot of the lyrics, especially like Eminem, Kendrick, Cole, a lot of these guys get into this weird mode where they constantly have to reshape the wheel or reform it. They're like redesigning the fucking, you know what I mean? And it's like the music's not broke, right? Music still has to be harmonious. You know what I'm saying? You still have to have... You could have all the lyrics in the world, but like if it doesn't flow well, like shit, you'll listen to it one time and go, all right, take notes on what he said. Oh shit, he said this, he said that. Take some notes, and eventually you're not going to be listening to. You're not being listened to anymore, right? And to me, and again, it sounds like I'm bashing Kendrick Lamar. I'm not bashing Kendrick Lamar. I'm bashing. This mainstream lyrical appreciation, because it's literally just, we only like Cole, Kendrick. We only like Cole, Kendrick, and M. Jay-Z, Kanye West. I mean, these guys are mid as far as lyrics are concerned, but they get blown out of the water if you listen to anything underground. And there's so many deep, awe-inspiring lyricists that get no play whatsoever. I said it, I probably said it before, but I'll say it again. K Reno has gotten albums that from the 1993, 1994, his first album, The Stories from the Black Book. To this day, I can listen to that song, any album of that, any song on that album, and go, this is more relevant now than ever. And if you go down the list of all his albums and his bodies of work, it blows M out of the water. It blows Pac, I think. Pac, Biggie. It blows them all out as far as bodies of water. Even the greatest, Nas. I think K Reno might be the greatest rapper ever. And guys like Mortal Technique, Hobson. Hobson has a song, and it probably is, speaking of like unique songs. Kendrick Lamar had a unique song with the couples fighting. That creativity overshadowed by this one song by Hobson called Happy Ending. It's literally talking about going to a massage, and it goes into details about him getting a happy massage from, an Asian parlor. Great, one because no one's ever thought of that. I don't think no one's ever thought about making a song about going to a fucking rub and tug. You know what I mean? And if they did, he just did it, like, he did it as good as it can be done. Now, Kendrick Lamar had the best fucking flow for a couple fighting, but I think it's probably been done, right? I could imagine that, like, there's intros of, like, on the old school Outkast album, there's couples fighting back and forth. Nigga, you ain't shit. All it's been done, but he put it to a beat and lyrically flowed it well, and the girl was up and held her end of the bargain. But that being said, it was it was good and well done. But you can put things in the underground up against, and I don't think it's a fair fight as far as creative control. There's not a lot of yes men telling you yes or no. It's all left for you in the underground. It's all left for, there's no labels and there's no high production values. It's literally a dude in either in a basement or studio with his whole rhyme sheet and notes and pages and all that stuff. And I feel like even Tech Nine, bro, like, these guys are so much more, they know what music is, whereas a lot of these mainstream guys out in the public, they kind of they feel soft. Their music is like, it's watered down because they know how much they reach, so they have to kind of, I'm no doubt in my mind that Kendrick Lamar probably had a couple of throwaways lines or whole songs in that album where he said this climate's not right. We can't, he's ripping out a couple of his pages because he can't do what underground artists do, because he's catering to a specific audience, and that's just is what it is. And I joke all the time, like, I do think about, like, man, I want to be the guy, I want to be famous, and I struggle with this all the time. But I also love the fact that nobody tells me what to make. Nobody tells me what to say. Nobody. Sure, you'll get a comment here or there about some shit, but almost all of my music is playthrough. There's still music that I made back in fucking 2012, 11 that get played over and over again. I'll drop something, and 4 years later, it's still to this day getting run up with streams. And I just love the fact that, like, if I was doing shows or whatever, and then I had a manager, and then I started having, a booker and an agent, soon enough I say, well, fuck it, let's wrap you guys all up into a label. It would become so watered down that I think I would probably shoot myself. You know what I'm saying? I'd probably be strung out on breast milk, wigging